Ladies and gentlemen, Carlos Valencia.
I was thinking about Hitler recently, and this is what I realized. You know what's fucked up? If you somehow were able to go back in time, and then you killed Hitler when he was a baby, isn't it fucked up that then you'd be seen as the monster? Right? Everybody would be mad at you because now you're the guy that caused the Jew overpopulation. Life is not fair, is what I'm saying. I do want to say this before I even do anything else. A thing I've been trying to do lately, I want to be more honest in my comedy. I want to be more honest, so I just want to tell you up front, I am full of shit. I am entirely full of shit. I try to talk like I know what I'm talking about. I really don't. I don't read. I don't watch the news. I don't even go to bookstores. The closest I've gotten to a bookstore is I went to an adult bookstore. I didn't know they exist. I thought they'd been out of business for a long time, because you have your internet. And then that's when I realized, actually, you know what? Internet porn is having trouble now, too. Because, like remember the Bang Bus? You remember the Bang Bus? When I first got on the internet, the Bang Bus was the shit, right? The Bang Bus. But then now you don't really hear about the Bang Bus anymore, And I'm like, what happened to the Bang? And you know what I think happened? Gas prices. That's what happened, It's just you can't afford to drive a bus around just to fuck some chicks. And I'm sure they try to retool and they had, the Bang Prius. It doesn't have the same ring to it, So I don't read. I don't watch the news. I try to watch the news. I used to watch the news networks. But then after a while, it just seemed like every news network was in a competition to see which one of them can get me to say, who gives a fuck the most times. Because they always report on bullshit. They never really report real news. They just report on just either celebrity. I really, honestly, I don't care what Kim Kardashian is balancing on her ass, right? I don't care what Miley Cyrus is shoving up her twat. I don't care. Speaking of Miley Cyrus, I can't stand Miley Cyrus. She's in the news all the time. One of my favorite comics is Bill Hicks. I love Bill Hicks. Yeah, he's a great comic. But over 20 years ago now, he did a set on David Letterman, on the David Letterman show that got banned. It didn't even get shown. It didn't get shown until 20 years later. And one of the jokes he told on that set that never aired was how he wanted to do a TV show called Let's Hunt and Kill Billy Ray Cyrus. Right? And then that was never shown. And what happened? Now we're stuck with Miley Cyrus. Yeah, that man was a prophet. We thought he was just saving us from achy breaky. No, he knew. If this guy jizzes in anything, it's going to be horrible. Oh, but he listens to the prophets. All the news networks are bad. They are. Fox is the worst, of course. Fox News is the journalism what the WWE is the professional sports. It looks like they're doing the thing, but you know that in the background there's a rich white guy telling them what to say and do, right? The other networks are better, in my opinion. CNN is better than Fox, but that's not saying much. Saying that you're better than Fox News is kind of like bragging that you have better handwriting than Michael J. Fox, right? It's not really saying much. It bugs me a lot because they don't even report news anymore. Real fact news, they don't really bother with it. This just happened recently. Congress came out with a report that established that the CIA was involved in illegal activities in the war on terrorism. It took them 7 years to do this, about $40 million to prove that the CIA was doing illegal shit, because I guess the last 60 years of CIA history wasn't evidence enough, right? So they had to spend all this money. The whole report was about torture. It was about torture, but it barely got reported. They just mentioned it and then they move on to the next car chase. Dick Cheney, he'll never accept that they tortured people. He'll call it enhanced interrogation techniques. That's his term for it, which is just newspeak Orwellian bullshit, Maybe we can discuss whether torture is a good thing or not, but let's call it what it is. Let's at least be honest about the term. But he won't call it. He calls it enhanced interrogation techniques. which is bullshit to me because really, you wouldn't call abortion an enhanced contraception technique, right? Right? You wouldn't call rape an enhanced dating technique. Let's be honest about what we're doing, and then maybe we can have a discussion. But no, the networks will never touch any of that shit. They're too busy reporting on car chases and yellow journalism. This is what they'll do. They'll report on the husband that was cheating on his wife, so killed the wife because he wanted to be with a girlfriend, and then blah, blah, blah. And then they'll report on the mother that killed the kids because her boyfriend didn't want to have any kids. That's the kind of shit. Like Casey Anthony. They made a big deal. Like Nancy Grace reported on it. I will say this, though. I will admit that I would fuck Casey Anthony. I would, and I see some people would do it as well. I will fuck Casey Anthony, and not just because she was pretty hot, but because if you knock her up, you don't have to worry about child support. At least not for very long. Come on, guys. We're going to have to title this CD Grown Fest. Nancy Grace is the worst person in the world. She's like the uber cunt of the world. I hate Nancy Grace. Even if nobody remembers who she is, and I hope nobody does, I think she's the worst person in the world. A couple of years ago, Nancy Grace, she had some health problems. She got a tumor removed. And I will say this, I don't care how you feel about Nancy Grace. I already told you how I feel. But it's still, I'm glad she got the tumor removed because it makes me happy to think that that tumor is finally cancer-free. Here's another thing that bothers me about the news networks is that they always have these hot as shit reporters, right? Like hot as fuck. It's like, really? Come on, man. What are the odds that the utmost expert on Southeast Asian geopolitics, right, is like a 6-foot blonde with double D tits? Come on now. No. Because hot people don't have to bother to research shit to be right because people will listen to them regardless. But it works both ways, to be fair. It works both ways. Like the uglier the reporter is, the more I trust them. Yeah, like Sam Donaldson, I trust that man. I don't know if he's still working. If you don't know Sam Donaldson, he kind of looks like a grown-up version of Bat Boy, you know, from like National Enquirer. I trust that man. I think he's retired, though. But for a more current reference, Greta Van Susteren. Yeah, I trust that. Like, if you don't know who Greta Van Susteren is, she kind of looks like a mountain lion somehow was able to mate with an embolism. And had a baby. She kind of looks like she had a stroke and nobody told her. That's kind of what it is. But I trust her. Why does everybody assume I'm a father when I tell them I have a 3-year-old at home? Well, my point is I'm full of shit, is what my point is I'm full of shit. So since I'm full of shit, let me tell you my opinions on abortion. Right? This ought to go well. Mm-hmm. By the way, I'm going to say abortion. I don't like using the terms pro-life and pro-choice because they're both loaded terms. I don't care what side of the argument you're in, they're both loaded terms. Because just because you're pro-life doesn't mean you're anti-choice, and just because you're pro-choice doesn't mean you're anti-life. A lot of pro-lifers actually are all about choice. You know, a lot of the Christian pro-lifers, they're all like, hey, homosexuality, that's a choice. Yeah, make the right choice. Love choice when it comes to homosexuality. And just because you're pro-choice doesn't mean that you're anti-life. If I've heard anything about having a kid, is that it will ruin your fucking life. That's why I'm pro-choice, is because I still want to enjoy my life. I don't want to have kids. So I won't use pro-choice and pro-life, but I'll tell you my opinion on abortion. I think the reason that abortion is such a big deal is because we treat pregnancy like it's a miracle. All the time, people talk about somebody got pregnant. Oh, it's a miracle from God. Oh my God. Right? No, it's not a miracle. It's just a biological process. That's just what happens when you nut inside a woman's pussy. That's just what happens. Yeah, either because you were too drunk to get a condom, or because you're leaving town the next night and she doesn't have your contact information. Whatever, I don't know. whatever your reasoning is, I don't think abortion would be such a big deal. Instead of treating pregnancy like it's a miracle, we treated pregnancy like it's a disease. Right? It's like, oh, why did Mary not come over? Oh, she caught a case of baby. Where's Julia? Oh, she's got fetus again. Oh no, we need to get her some coat hanger-all. Good old Plan C. Not the best name for that product, but that's why I'm not in marketing. I'm a uniter, though. I want to bring people together, so I try to come up with solutions, even for the, controversial issues like abortion, Something that both, Democrats and Republicans can both agree on. So first of all, you got to keep abortion legal because, Democrats, they love killing babies. They fucking love killing babies. You got to keep it legal. But how do you keep the Republicans happy, right? Well, you make all the abortion clinics segregated. Problem solved. I'm fucking trying here, people. I sliced some bread once. It was the greatest thing. My point is, guys, is that I'm full of shit. I don't read books. I don't watch the news. Everything I've ever learned, I've learned from watching movies and television. That's how I grew up. So this is pretty much the only thing I really know. Learned this from watching movies. I'll share it with you. If you live in a city that has a lot of car chases, do not get into the fruit cart business. Because your shit's gonna get run over. If there's one thing that pisses off criminals more than being chased by cops, it's neatly arranged produce. They could have a clear getaway, but if they see a fruit cart, it's like a dog seeing a squirrel. They can't help themselves. They're like, I gotta fuck me up some cantaloupes. I don't watch as much television as I used to. I used to watch television a lot more when I was a kid. Another show I loved was, when I was a kid, was The A-Team. Yeah, remember The A-Team? Okay. I loved The A-Team. If The A-Team taught me anything, is that there's nothing you can't achieve. There's no enemy you can't defeat as long as you know welding. You can build a fucking tank out of a bamboo tree if you just know how to weld somehow. Here's the thing. I mentioned all these shows that I watch. The thing is, I grew up in Colombia, South America. I was born here. I was born in New Jersey. And I'll talk about that later. But as a kid, I lived in Colombia. So a lot of the shows that you guys are all familiar with, I'm familiar with them too, but I saw them in Spanish, translated. But here's the thing, they wouldn't just translate the dialogue. They would translate the titles as well. And I have no idea how they came up with the titles, because it wasn't a direct translation. It was an interpretation. I'll let you guys judge. Here's what the A-Team was called in Latin America. The A-Team was called Los Magníficos, which literally translates to the Magnificents. Sounds more like a magician show to me. But I guess, Mr. T's hair was pretty magical. Here's another one, Different Strokes. That's what they called Different Strokes in Latin America. It was called Blanco y Negro. For those of you who don't know, that literally translates to white and black. Because I guess that's all they saw. There's some black kids and a white dude. All right, blanco y negro. Here's another one. Growing pains. Yeah, you know what they call growing pains in Latin America? It was called Ay, como duele crecer, which literally translates to, ouch, how it hurts to grow. And I'm not even making up the ouch part. That is in the fucking title. Wikipedia, that shit. It's got the upside down exclamation point and everything. Yeah. Here's another one. Saved by the Bell. You know what they called Saved by the Bell in Latin America? They called it the Mario Lopez Show. That's what they're... just kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, so I mentioned I grew up as a kid. I grew up in Colombia. I lived there for a long time, 10 years. But I was born in New Jersey. And you know what? A lot of people make fun of New Jersey. I think it's undeserved. Because a lot of people, great people, have come out of New Jersey. Greatest New Jerseyan of all time? You know, a lot of people say Bruce Springsteen. A lot of people say, you know, Frank Sinatra. A lot of people are wrong. Greatest New Jerseyan of all time? John Bon Jovi. Yeah, right? Because Bon Jovi, what? He's seen a million faces. And what? Rock them all, exactly. Million faces, rock them all, that's impressive. That guy has rocked more faces than Medusa. That's how impressive that guy is. Yeah. Now, I don't know how many faces I've seen, you know. 30, 40,000 faces, maybe. I don't know, I lost count. What I do know for sure, though, is I haven't rocked them all. Because for a long period of time, rocking people's faces was just not a big priority in my life. Like, I went to high school, and then I went to college. I wanted to make good grades, so I neglected the rocking, you know? Now I'm older, though. Now I'm 34, so I realized the error in my ways. So I'm trying to rock as many faces as I possibly can. Problem is, again, John Bon Jovi not only seen a million faces, he's rocked them all. That's a 100% average. Yeah. I could rock every face I see from now till the day I die, and I'll never catch up because so many faces have gone unrocked. Right? So my only hope is that he fucks up at some point. And I've thought about it. Oh, good Lord, I've envisioned it. So this is my hope. This is the way I envision him fucking up. Like, say he has got a concert or something, right? And he's in a hurry for whatever reason. So he's got to run to the convenience store to get cigarettes, right? Oh, he's got to get to the store. So he runs over to the convenience store. And by the way, he has to run to the convenience store because if he rides that steel horse that he rides, it's over. There's no way you're going to see a guy riding a steel horse and your face is not going to get rocked. My face is getting rocked just thinking about it. He's got to run to the store, right? Then he gets to the store, right? And because he's in such a hurry, he just goes up to the clerk and he's like, hey, man, I need some cigarettes. Give me the cigarettes. Guy passes him the cigarettes. He pays. He runs back out. And then he's halfway home. And that is when he realizes, oh, no. I forgot to rock the clerk's face. Boom, that's my in. Like, now, granted, I still have to rock hundreds of thousands of faces. You know, and I know his average is still like 0.999, whatever. But at least there's hope, you know? I'm just living on a prayer, people. Living on a prayer. Baptisms make me wet. Well, you remember when you were younger, for those of you who are a little bit older, kind of like me, you remember when you were younger, before you were too young to like actually be able to purchase alcohol legally, you would go to like house parties and you get really drunk at the house party. And then what would happen was like, if you were the first person to get like passed out drunk, then your asshole friends would come over and draw dicks on your face. Remember that? It did draw dicks on you. Some macho thing, I think. I think it's a macho thing, because I'm pretty sure gay dudes don't do that. I'm pretty sure if you're a gay house party, they're not going to be like, oh, let's draw vaginas all over this passed out guy. Oh, he's straight. I think it's a macho thing, yeah? So that's what they do, You pass out drunk because you're too hammered and they draw dicks on your face. You don't know what's going on. Next day, you finally wake up, try to sober up, and eventually you look in the mirror, and you realize, oh shit, there's dicks all over my face. Oh man, friends are assholes. But you realize that's what happened. That whole dicks on the face thing, that's kind of how I feel about my baptism. Because I was baptized when I was 3 months old. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Cut to about 15 years later when I was like, conscious enough to realize what happened. It's like, oh, this is great. My parents inducted me into a pedophile cult. That's fantastic. Thank you, my parents. All right, back to the drinking. Remember when you would go to these house parties? And if you drank too much, you'd be the first one to pass out. And then your friends would come up to you, and they would pull your pants down, and they would slash up your dick. Remember that? No. Oh, you know why? It's because the Catholic Church is worse than your fucking asshole friends. Circumcision is like a dick on your face that you can never erase. I'm not a fan of religion. I don't care for it. I'm trying to be better, though, about my anti-religion stance, because I used to be really militant about religion. I used to be, get angry. It doesn't get you anywhere, really. It doesn't get you anywhere. It just makes you miserable. So I'm trying to be more tolerant about religions and not judge them all, by the same standard. I think some religions are worse than others. Here's what my opinion is of what the worst religion is of right now, is Islam. I think Islam is the worst. And that's the thing that you can't say. It's not a clever answer, neither it's a funny answer, Sirens will sound when you say that shit. People will call the police and the fire department on you. But you can't say that. It's not a clever or funny answer, but it's the truth. But you can't say it because everybody gets mad. Everybody gets mad. Across the board. The liberals get mad because they're like, what do you mean Islam is bad? You're supposed to be tolerant of all cultures and religions. And then the really conservative Muslims, they get mad too because they're like, hey, what do you mean our religion is violent? I'm gonna kill you. Because apparently there's no chapter in the Quran about irony. But I'm also thinking, what's the best religion? And this is what, in my opinion, this is what the best religion is. I think it's Buddhism. I think Buddhism is great. I'm not a Buddhist myself, but I've never had a problem with Buddhists. I've never had a Buddhist get pissed off at me because I wasn't Buddhist. Buddhists are so chill. Like the one of their main deities, if that's the right term, like the Chinese Buddha, is just like a big fat slob. It's just like a big fat man, right? And you can rub his belly, and Buddhists don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, rub his belly, put your nuts on his face. I don't care. We're Buddhists. But with Islam, you can't even draw Muhammad. You can't draw him at all. They'll get pissed off. And you could draw Muhammad super complimentary, right? You could draw him awesome. Like you could draw Muhammad with like a six-pack, right? Like a dick so long he wraps it around his head. He uses it as a turban. You could be super complimentary. You could draw Muhammad as a white guy. They'd still get pissed off at you. The worst religion of all time, though, is Catholicism. They have that on lock. For centuries, they've been doing shit. They're the worst of all time. It's going to take Islam a lot of time to catch up. I was raised Catholic. That's why I give Catholics a lot of shit. People argue with me, though. They say, the Catholic Church, they've done good things, too. They do volunteer work. They do missionary work. They do good things. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe they do that. But they also fuck kids. Doesn't that kind of trump absolutely everything? Like staying a Catholic after you hear about all the child rape, it's kind of like deciding you're going to stay John Wayne Gacy's friend after he got caught because you thought he was an awesome clown. It's like, oh yeah, I know he killed all the kids and buried them under his house, but you ever see the balloon animals that guy made? Yeah, they all look like penises and nooses, but whatever. That guy was a good fucking clown. I think it'd be hilarious if the Virgin Mary, once she found out she was pregnant, she was like, fuck this. And then she went to like the Bethlehem Planned Parenthood, right? Got an abortion. But then like 3 days later, the little Jesus fetus comes back to life. And he's all pissed off, right? So he walks over to Mary's place, right? Starts knocking at her door. It's like, what the fuck, Mary? She was like, go away, Jesus fetus. Just kicks him away. Then God gets pissed off. So he impregnates her again. But she just has another abortion. And then it just keeps happening over and over and over and over again. Eventually it's just like a Jesus fetus army knocking at her door. I still haven't written a good ending to that joke. I just like saying Jesus fetus army. If you need a bad name, go ahead. For a round of applause, how many people in here have had their arms amputated? I live in New York now. I moved there in January. And it's been rough. It's been very rough. The first month that I was there, I got 3 tickets, 3 days in a row. One of them I got my car towed for. And the reason I got my car towed is because I parked too close to a fire hydrant. And people are like, oh, you idiot, you're not supposed to park that close to a fire hydrant. And I'm like, listen, I didn't park right at the fire hydrant. I parked close to it. And the reason I parked that close is because the fire hydrant was at a service. And then they're like, oh, well, how do you know it was at a service? Does it have a sign? It's like, no, it didn't have a sign. But you could tell it was at a service because if you really got up to it and you looked at it, you could tell that it was on its side and not attached to the ground. I'm no fire hydrant engineer, but I think when the apparatus that you're counting on to save people's lives is not attached to the earth, then maybe it doesn't work. Like I said, I live in New York, so I'm trying to get more accommodated to their surroundings. I don't like it much, but I'm trying to get more familiarized with the city. So I'm trying to keep up with whatever's going on. And here's the thing that happened earlier this year. There's a big controversy because when the St. Patrick's Day parade was going on, they would not allow homosexual groups to be in the St. Patrick's Day parade. Which makes absolutely no sense to me. Because I can't think of very many events gayer than a parade. Right? It's like, let the gays be in it. They'll fucking own it. They'll make it fabulous. Right? Have you ever been to a gay pride parade? It's the best. Not allowing homosexuals in your parade is kind of like having a no faggots policy in your butt fucking competition. Right? It's like, oh yeah, I don't want all these faggots queering up my sodomy festival. It's a nice Christian sodomy festival. And listen, I'll say all this, even though I hate gays. Yeah, I can't stand them. I can't. That's why I only have sex with straight guys. That's what I do. Oh, come on. It's a joke. Here's another thing I saw when I moved to New York City. I was walking down Times Square, and there was a t-shirt shop, and one of the shirts that they had there said, "Welcome to America. Now learn the language." I wasn't really shocked to see it. I used to live in the Southeast. I've seen that shirt plenty of times. I think they give those away in Birmingham. Really? You fly into Birmingham? Here's your shirt. I was a little surprised to see it in Times Square because that's one of the few places in America where you can get a shirt that says, "Welcome to America, and I'll learn the language," from somebody that actually doesn't know the language. It's a little ironic. It's a controversial subject, the whole language thing, but I can get behind why people love the English language so much, because I think it is a great language. I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's the best. I think English is the best. English is so awesome that England named its whole country after it. Did you guys know that? Yeah. It's not just jokes, it's education too. Edutainment. Right. Here's what I love about the English language is that we have phrases in English that they don't have in other languages. Like, for example, knock on wood. You familiar with this phrase, knock on wood? You know, you say something, you don't want to jinx it, you knock on wood, right? They don't have that phrase in other languages, which kind of explains to you why so much bad shit happens all over the world. Yeah, because you know there was probably some dude out in Japan just a few years ago, right? And he was talking to his buddy in Japanese, and he was like, hey man, can you believe we have not had a single tsunami knock out one of our nuclear power plants? That's all he said. I know. It's tragic. I used to live in Atlanta before I moved to New York. When I moved to Atlanta, some of my family was a little concerned. They were like, Carlos, aren't you afraid to move to Atlanta? You know, Atlanta, it's a dark city. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they have electricity there. They have electricity. Obviously, that's not what they were talking about. What they were saying was, Carlos, aren't you afraid of black people? And I'm like, don't be ridiculous. Of course I'm afraid of black people. It's obviously not all black people. It's like the example I was just like, if you're walking down the street at night and you see like a thugged out black dude coming your way, that's when it's scary. And I know there's thugged out white dudes too, but I'm not as scared of that motherfucker. Come at me, Vanilla Ice, you know, we'll do the ninja rap or whatever. But if it's a thugged out black dude coming my way, that's when it's scary. Not only is it scary, it's a dilemma. It's really, that's what it is. It's a dilemma because on the one hand, I don't want to cross the street, you know, because I don't want the thug to think I'm racist. You know, I don't want to hurt the thug's feelings. But then on the other hand, I really kind of want to keep my iPhone. So, I mean, I don't know what to, I don't have to. Not racist, though. Probably doesn't help that I'm saying it out loud. You usually don't have to. I'm not racist. I don't understand how anybody would get angry at somebody just because of the color of their skin when there are so many good reasons to get angry at people. I don't understand it. And people will call me out on it because I'll say this a lot, but people are like, well, if you feel so strong about racism, why don't you become an activist? Why don't you march? Like, for example, why didn't you go to the Million Man March back in the day in Washington, D.C.? And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be honest about it, it's probably because I'm lazy. The whole march thing kind of ruined it for me. If it was like the Million Man go-kart parade, I'd be all about that shit. That'd be fun. But marching, that's no fun, right? And plus, here's another thing I was thinking about. You know what I think would suck? What if you did go to Washington, D.C. for the Million Man March, and that's when you found out your man 1,000,001? Because what if they're really strict? What if they're like, oh, sorry, sir, we're full? Then again, though, if you're the last person showing up at an event where 1,000,000 black dudes showed up before you, you're pretty fucking late. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't deserve to be in the parade. I think it's about time Lou Bega comes out with Mambo number 6. Come on, Lou Bega, you're going to lose your momentum. At least give us the prequels, you know, that's all I'm saying. That joke was outdated when I wrote it 9 years ago. And I'm still telling it to this day. I'd like to dedicate this next joke to Greg Brown. Being broke sucks for all the obvious reasons, but dating is the worst because it always puts you in embarrassing situations. I'll give you an example. I took one of my ex-girlfriends out to eat once, right? Looking back on it, maybe I should have taken her out to eat more than once. But you know, whatever. Hindsight's 50-50. take her out to eat, get to the restaurant, we sit down. That's when she orders filet mignon. I don't even know what filet mignon is, but the only filet I had budgeted for was au fish. But now I'm fucked because apparently mignon is French for really fucking expensive. So now I'm left looking through the menu to see what I can afford to order. I end up ordering add mushrooms. I don't know if you ever tried to order add mushrooms at a restaurant before. It's kind of awkward. Wait staff gives you attitude. Add mushrooms to what, sir? I don't know. A plate? Why don't you figure it out? You know what's the best part about killing your girlfriend? The makeup sex. I've been doing comedy now for a little bit over 9 years, and here's the thing I've been trying lately is trying to be a better comic. Probably should have tried this about 8 years ago, but you know, I'm just procrastinating. I heard if you want to be a good comic, you gotta show vulnerability. Not sure exactly what that means, but I think what it means is that you make yourself look a little bit like an idiot, and then people relate to you more, right? They're like, oh, look at that dummy. I like him. So I'll tell you a couple of embarrassing stories, and, you know, maybe you guys will relate. Well, I'll preface this with this. Before I tell you the embarrassing story, I'll preface it with this. I'm the kind of guy that likes getting blowjobs. All right, apparently I'm the only one. That's fine, though. That's fine. More for me. Problem is, for a long time, I didn't like going down on chicks. And it's not because I'm selfish, it's just that I wasn't that good at it. Problem is, a lot of women won't go down on you unless you go down on them, right? It's like a catch 69. So, try to improve my technique. So I Googled. Yeah, because I'm fucking tech savvy. Here's what I found out. Apparently a good strategy when we're going down on a chick is to do the alphabet with your tongue. Later on, I found out Sam Kinison came up with. That's how brilliant that man was. Do the alphabet with your tongue, which actually makes a lot of sense to me. But what really made me think about is, man, Chinese dudes must be fucking awesome. Given oral. Like 10,000 characters, 8 strokes per character. I'll be down there 9 hours, but she'll enjoy it. Alphabet with your tongue. I gave that advice to a friend of mine recently. Turns out he's dyslexic. Yeah, he ended up blowing himself. Whatever. I think he had a good time. But what that leads me, though, is to my embarrassing admission to you guys. And, you know, it's like, you guys are cool. I trust they won't leave this venue or the hundreds of millions of people that'll buy my CD. I once went down on a lady. You know the oral sex? I went down on a lady. I went down on her not knowing that she was on her period. Boy, was my face red. I do love the sex, though. Love the sex. I try different kinds of sexes, you know. I once was with a lady. This lady liked it when I roughed her up, right? She liked the rough shit, you know. She liked me to like slap her around, you know. And I remember when she would tell me to do it, you know. I say, all right, well, okay, she wouldn't really like tell me to do it, but she would drop little hints to let me know that she wanted me to rough her up, you know. Like, she wouldn't have dinner ready on time. She wouldn't wash the dishes. She'd let me get drunk. I'm good at it, though. I'm good at the sex. Not trying to brag, but it is important. This is important to me. I mean, I'm about to wrap this up. I want the world to know that I am very good at this. And I'll give you an example of how good at the sex I am. Not once have I ever had a woman fall asleep on me while I'm making love to her. I mean, I've had a few wake up. You know, that's a different story. That's oh boy. Oh boy. It's a joke, by the way. It's a rape joke, but it's a joke. It's about as mild a rape joke as I have as well. A lot of people get offended, though, when they hear those kinds of jokes. People come out to comedy shows and get offended. What? You fucking idiot? Stay home if you don't want to be offended. People come out to comedy shows and get offended. It happens to me all the time. I told a joke once. It was about autism, and this person got all. Actually, to be specific, it was about Asperger's. And they came out to me after the show. I was like, I should not tell jokes about Asperger's. Listen, first of all, free speech. If there's anything that's so wonderful about this country, is that you can still talk and joke about anything that you want. You know, any subject. Nothing's off limits. And number two, if you're going to be so sensitive about a syndrome or a disease, then don't name it something that sounds so much like a combination of the words ass and burgers. Right? That's kind of like naming a disease pussy fries. Right? If somebody came up to you and was like, hey man, that guy's got pussy fries, you'd be like, oh my God, that's hilarious. But then it'd be like, no, you can't laugh, dude. It's spelled differently. Oh, get the fuck out of here. But it happens all the fucking time. Especially with rape jokes. People get mad. They hear, somebody comes out to a rape, the comedy, I almost said that somebody comes out to a rape. That would be justified if you heard a joke at a rape. But people come out to comedy shows and they hear a rape joke. And here's the thing now, is that people, because of the internet, the people can go back home and they write their little blogs, right? And they're like, oh, I went to a comedy show and these comics are telling rape jokes. They need to stop telling rape jokes, right? They write their blog. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop telling my jokes because they're just jokes. I'm not advocating rape. I'm not saying, hey, let's go out there and rape everybody. That's not, jokes don't have that immediate effect on people. If they did, then comics would be getting blowjobs non-stop. Comics would just be telling blowjob after blowjob after blowjob joke, and it'd be like a fucking 2-hour little blog again. Oh, comics, you need to stop telling rape jokes. And again, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to stop. I've already explained why. I'm not going to stop. And then it dies down 6 months later. Again, it happens. Somebody comes out to a comedy show, gets offended, goes back home, writes their little blog, comics, you need to stop telling rape jokes. And at that point, I'm like, listen, rape joke blogger, no means no. If anybody should know this, I still sense apprehension from the crowd because people still get sensitive about it. See, listen, here's my opinion. The problem isn't comics that tell too many rape jokes. The problem is rapists that tell too many clean jokes. Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby. At last count, I can't even keep count at this point, but at last count, he's been accused of rape at least 20 times. From 20 different women have accused Bill Cosby of rape. How many rape jokes has he actually told? 0. At least that's what maybe I don't have all the deep cuts and the B-sides or whatever. As far as I know, unless you can give me a bootleg, I've never heard Bill Cosby tell a rape joke. All right. Now, how many rape jokes have I told? Who knows? I've lost count a long time ago. But you know how many women have accused me of rape? 0. You know why? Because I kill them after I'm done. That's why it's... And that's my time. Good night.